Listen to Career Paths by Implement every Thursday.
You might learn something.
You might not.
Available on Apple Podcasts,
On Spreaker,
Spotify,
on Google,
and iHeartRadio. It's your life. Make it happen.
Career paths.
Career paths. Let me know when you're ready, young man.
Got to get my clap in, you know.
I was. You clapping? You got your clapping?
You ready?
That's fantastic.
I think I am. Are you? All we can do is screw up. Well, welcome to Career Paths by InfoNet. I'm your host, Victor Boudreau. With us today, Jim. I could never pronounce your last name.
Last name Bergum.
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 Well, that's just crazy. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of slow that way. Jim, is your official title is with the Spokane Shock, Director of Ticket Sales with the Spokane Shock was indoor football.
Correct. Yeah, Director of Ticket Sales and Service. So we do a little bit of both.
Well, see, that's,
The idea is I need to get butts in the seats. That's what I need to do.
is that what you do?
Fill the arena.
Huh.
Yeah, make it loud, make it noisy, make sure we win.
I'm thinking about trying out, checking the game out since they're back.
Yeah. Since you've been having breakfast with all your Shock buddies
I know a guy.
Saturday
I know.
for years,
I know.
you might as well actually check us out.
You know, just hanging out, doing breakfasts is different. Yeah, okay. Hey, so give us a little background, like married, kids, family, whatever, personal. You don't have to get
Personal
real,
side?
Yeah, personal side. You don't have to
Yeah.
get,
Well, the personal side is, here's my little story. No, I was with somebody for about 12 to 13 years.
You had
Part of the reason I could make this move is because I'm single again. And so that made it possible to do this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you go back as far as my career in sports, I've kind of done everything from NCAA. I did that at Washington
Right.
State.
You're involved with some other teams that this area might have heard of.
Right. So I did things. What got me into sports more than anything else, I was doing some broadcast work in the Pullman, Colfax, Lewiston.
You went to school?
Went to school at Wazoo.
Okay.
WSU guy.
Yeah.
And got mixed up into both of the broadcast aspect of doing things, and also some of the sports marketing and that kind of thing. And that led to getting involved with the Seattle Mariners.
I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Baseball or something?
This will age me a little bit, but the fact is, I worked with the Seattle Mariners when they went the last time they went to the playoffs.
Huh.
So you can do the math. But
Right.
it's a lot of fun to win. It's
I
a
would
lot of
imagine
fun.
just being part of that atmosphere and being
Right.
on that side
Well,
of it.
the first time I worked with the Mariners was when they were still in the Kingdom, and then I came back when they had Safeco Field. Now it's T-Mobile Park, but I mean it's Major League Sports, and there's good. Well, you're kind of like Letterman-esque, We need the crashing window. But the thing about Major League Sports is there are more rules to it, to what you can and can't do. The beauty of working in kind of minor league baseball, which I've done, and now with the Shock, is there's some freedom to do some things in a smaller league that maybe the Major League Baseball. I worked for the Sonics before they moved on to Oklahoma, and there are rules, but
So just for clarification, with your as opposed to NFL, which is very restricted or rule. I mean, where the league that the Shock IFL that they're in now gives them more flexibility to do what you need to do. Possibly, is that what you're saying?
Well, it's interesting. The whole concept of arena football came about on a couple guys talking about what if we did this? It's indoors, it's small, it's 8-man, writing on a napkin, literally just coming up with this idea. And then the Shock came in 2006 with Arena Football 2. For those of you who don't remember, it was like the little minor league. I don't know if you want to call it minor league, but it was just the
second for AFL was
secondary league of arena football.
Smaller markets.
And arena football, they got some TV time. They got they ended up with the St. Louis Rams quarterback, Kurt Warner.
Yes, back then.
He was an Iowa Barnstormer.
Right.
So you've got a guy who's bagging groceries. He gets a shot at this arena league. He makes it. He wins big there. He gets his shot at the NFL. The NFL Rams, their starting quarterback gets hurt. All of a sudden, this former grocery bag guy is playing in the NFL, and he's succeeding, and he's doing things that a lot of other quarterbacks there are not doing.
Right.
He leads his team to a Super Bowl. It's Disney-esque in Hollywood as he gets, but it did a lot of things for arena football.
It did.
So when Spokane came in 2006, you kind of had that idea of what arena football would and could be.
Right.
And you had some coaches that people kind of knew, and some players, be it from WSU, the University of Washington, Eastern, Idaho.
They pulled some from, there's some guys that came in from over there.
Sure, and
So
you know what? All of a sudden, they put on orange instead of purple, and they might get cheered for. and they do things on, if you think about it, you're putting this turf or this carpet over a hockey ice rink
this time of year,
and you're like, throw the ball, hit each other, and have fun. And for Spokane, what's so cool is we do fit right into the niche. As the hockey Chiefs are kind of finishing off their season, we pick up, and about the time that we're ready to win a championship, the Indians have just gotten going.
Right.
And so we fit right in between the two.
Yeah.
And it has worked before.
It has.
And what was important with the team being the Shock, when they left, they took that name and the whole logo with them. And our owner, Sam Adams, who's a former Seattle Seahawk, a 300-pound dude.
You might have heard of Seahawks.
He's NFL. He understood the value of the name Spokane Shock. And so for Sam, it was all about, we got to get the rights to that back and get back in the Spokane arena. And he was able to do that.
Yes.
And the rest is, becoming history.
We're almost there.
We're getting close.
Home game.
March 26th at home.
So this has been a progression. As the couple other people I've already interviewed have, they went to school, blah blah blah. So you were talking about what you did. So where were you? What were you doing when you decided to go to college? Because you split that up kind of. Was that all planned out? Would you?
Not necessarily planned. I went to WSU knowing what a fantastic broadcast and that type of program they had.
So you're initially broadcasting.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Went over there, and that's what I ended up doing the whole time.
Okay.
Was broadcast journalism at the Murrow School, and did some work. My first little gig was a country station in Colfax, where a fraternity brother was doing some part-time work, and he's like, hey, we need some more guys. And
were you country that time?
No, I knew nothing about country music. I still don't know that much about it. Kenny Chesty's pretty good, but for the most part, you're probably going to hear AC/DC coming out of my vehicle more than country.
Okay.
But so I get this gig at this country.
Country doesn't come in on in any of my cars.
Yeah,
so I don't know what it is.
You got to give it a chance.
No,
And the Eagles. I was able to play the Eagles, and I'm like, I know the Eagles, but this is the little 45s, spinning the record, that kind of thing.
Yep.
We did news with I'm really dating myself, but this was.
It's
some people still do it, but
some things change along the way, but
real,
it's just technology. So but then again, there's people that should be aware of how things happen.
I think everybody who goes into the business now should spend at least a week or a month the old school, where you're spinning records, and you put the record on, you spin it to where it's going to start. Yep. You have reel to reel, which you use an actual razor blade.
Yeah, you slice.
Kids wouldn't even know what a razor blade is now, but an old-fashioned razor blade, you cut the tape.
Yep. Splice it so you get
cuts.
Splice
it,
yep.
And then you use tape to tape it together. That's how you edit it. It's a whole nother world.
I never did this stuff. I just have been around that situation and what I've done in the past, where I had to deal with some of these guys that had to do some of this stuff.
No, that's how you did it. That's how you did it. And you played your commercials. It wasn't all on a computer. If you know what an 8-track tape is, you have what it looks like an old 8-track tape, and you punch that in, and it plays all of your.
It's called a cartridge back then.
See, you throw those. There you go.
Yeah, I'm
you
old
throw
too.
Those, that's how you
apparently.
play your commercials.
Yes. So, how and where did you look for information? Because obviously, we didn't have the interweb back then.
Oh yeah, there's a thing called encyclopedias, and guys used to go door to door selling them. But for the most part, we got our news, Associated Press news from the newspapers. You know, you can.
So, but for you to go to school, where did you get that? Was it through that?
Well, you had to research it. You had to go to the library.
Okay. I didn't know. Well, I'm just questioning because once again, the people that don't know, because the internet is there now.
Yeah, you couldn't just.
But
Let me see. Let me
I'm
check
trying to
my
remember
iPhone.
stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't like that.
I'm not sure where.
Another shock notice, by the way.
There you go.
Yeah.
Things are happening. It's
They want
a couple.
tickets.
Got a couple weeks. 4 weeks away.
March 26th. We got a little bit of time.
I have to look.
Not much.
But I can't even remember. Now I'm dating myself. How we did some of the things, the information to find a disc to do CDs.
Yeah, we really had to go to the library and check things out, encyclopedias. Yeah, it's a different world.
Yeah,
you had to know somebody.
I know a guy.
Know somebody.
So, okay, but how did you find Wazoo through that also? Obviously,
so Wazoo,
if you remember.
Wazoo led to a lot of the broadcast work.
Okay.
I ended up in Lewiston, Idaho, working for KLAW, doing some sports. You know, the beauty of small town stuff like that. I ended up getting the morning show.
Oh.
And so there's another woman there that she needed some help, kind of alleviate some of it off of her plate. And so we both did the little morning show as a community morning show there at KLAW, where you would talk about you know, all the different little events that were going on in town, and
for the Lewiston small
so you
town.
invite them in, and you'd have a nice little talk
kind of
about
like this,
that. Yeah.
but radio.
Yeah, it was a lot like this, but no, it was TV.
Oh, TV. Okay.
This was at KLAW.
Okay, I'm
Very similar to this.
I never hung out. Even when I was down.
We were on channel channel 3. Yeah, KLAW.
I have been in Lewiston and didn't spend a lot of time watching TV apparently.
So you know, I would go back and forth between doing that stuff and getting into sports.
Nice.
And
because you've always had a passion for sports.
Oh yeah, and the broadcast stuff. And so when the Cougars went to the Rose Bowl in 1998, I was able to get a press pass through work. We were interviewing that team the whole time, Mike Price and Ryan Leaf, and that whole team, as they were just having this magical season. And it came down to the Apple Cup, and you know, we had to go to Seattle and win the Apple Cup to go to the Rose Bowl, and Leaf did that. And I mean, it was just a joyous "where were you when" moment for all the Cougars. And next thing you know, we're in Pasadena, and I'm talking to one of our alums. You might have heard of Keith Jackson. He's a voice of college.
Some guy that did that.
Yeah, the voice of ABC Sports.
Right.
A Wazoo guy. Met him in person.
Nice.
He worked at KLAW way back when.
Wow.
And talked about sturgeon fishing on the Snake, you know, in the Columbia.
Wow.
What a great story.
Wow.
And you know, we had that Rose Bowl experience. We won our 2 seconds back. We needed like 2 more seconds. Spiked the ball. We thought we had 2 seconds for one more play. And unfortunately, Michigan and the referees said, "Nah, that's the game."
Huh.
But that led to, for me, a passion of sports even more so, and ended up working for the Mariners, the Sonics, a bunch of different places before I came back to the 509 and with the Shock.
So just to clarify, because a couple of people we've talked to so far, and a lot of people, they go to a trade school, college to learn. Even though you went to it, would you agree that a lot of it was just when you got out there and did it, you got some basic information in school?
Yeah,
Am
I mean, it
wrong?
depends what you're studying. There's
right.
Things,
yeah. I
There's
guess
certain
let's
things that
clarify.
it's just kind of by the books. You learn that. You go through
Right.
a program.
Right. Yep.
Broadcasting's a little bit different. There's a lot of ways to get into it.
Mhm.
Sports too is a little bit different too. I mean,
but for you in particular, did you get what you needed to know and then took with that, and however you got to do what you got to do?
I would always say, if you're looking for a program or a school to learn, WSU, the one thing that I think that they, to this day, that they get is hands-on training.
Nice.
And there's other places that have just almost gotten rid of their program because they were textbook training. And when it comes to communications, you have to do it. You got to be out there doing it. And they would send us with the camera.
Nice.
Let us choose a story and go up and do interviews and do the camera work and come back and use these. We had these same editing machines that a lot of TV stations did.
Right.
In fact, they usually came from the TV station. When they upgraded, they said, "Here, Cougs," and we got this stuff.
Nice.
And so we learned it on hand.
Right.
They had, and it's a smaller region, so you get to do it. There's not a bunch of freelance people in Pullman trying to do this stuff where they can just tell a student, hey, we need someone to do some audio. I don't know much about that. Well, you're going to learn. It's great. It's hands-on experience, which as you do this, you learn as you go. As you never stop learning from the people you're working with.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a good way to do it.
Everybody,
You take that initial that you learned, and then you build on it all the time.
What would you find any obstacles along the way in that process? And there's always obstacles, but anything that you ran into in particular that sticks out in your head?
From the broadcast side?
What you've done.
Not
Where
really.
it's like, what am I doing to that point?
Well, here's a good example. I mean, you can go in there as a student, and you're kind of, you've got that idea that I can change the world, and I can do this big story and breaking news. The reality is, you find out very quickly it's a business, and if a certain person in the community owns about everything in the community, and there's a story you want to do that might paint a bad picture, guess what?
It doesn't happen.
There's a reason we make money here, and it's not because you did that story. So you realize right away that there's the idealistic journalism, and then there's the reality of journalism too. That's sports as well. It's probably any business.
Could be. I'm just
probably not bookstores though. This is idealistic.
Things you did to get started in the school, was it Wazoo to start with that particular?
Yeah. Okay. Well, to get into broadcasting, I just kind of knew what I wanted to do.
Right.
And there's a lot of opportunities at WSU to let you do that.
Nice. Obviously, it worked for you.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of hands-on things.
Right.
They have they call Cable 8 Productions, and it's student-run productions.
Okay.
They also have a PBS affiliate that runs out of there for the equipment. But we do have a great, WSU has a great commitment to letting you get your hands on. And they pride themselves. You do a nightly newscast every single night at WSU. So you get the practice of breaking news. It has to be realistic breaking news. If something comes across,
learn how to deal with it, whatever comes along with it.
You learn how it works.
Right.
They do have the facilities and the equipment to let you see what it's like in the real world, and so that's the biggest part.
Nice. What would you say was the hardest part or worst part when you were going to school, and what would you say was the best part or
worst and best?
Hardest, worst, best.
I mean,
fun.
God, it's all fun. I mean, WSU.
I interviewed somebody else, and which was my brother, and he spent lots of hours where he didn't sleep. So that to me wasn't fun. Did you have that?
No,
did you sleep all the time, or were you partying all the time? What were you doing, Jim? Now, people want to know.
Wazoo at that time definitely had more of a party reputation than it does now. I mean, society's different, right? But at the same time, we made sure that we have our stories. We have a lot of the stories. And a lot of the stories we can't remember, but you can have a good time. At the same time, I'm a big believer in work hard, play hard. Mm-hmm. So if you're gonna play hard, and there's nothing wrong with that, have fun with it.
So you don't kill yourself.
But then
somebody else.
know what your goals are.
Yeah.
And aim to get those done too. And for me, it became broadcast goals, things I wanted to do. And then as I learned more about working in sports, which I got into at WSU as well, I started to see some opportunities, be it the Mariners in Major League Baseball, be it the Sonics in the NBA, be it marketing for a hockey league in Southeast in Florida, a baseball team in Bellingham. I just fell into things and was able to get my feet wet in a lot of different places there.
Obviously, things happened. However they happened, you knew a guy. Things don't always just happen. I know we say that.
Yeah. Well, know a guy is a real thing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So I agree.
People say
networking, just getting out there.
How did you land there? And inevitably, it's connections. And I will tell anybody, I've got a great friend who I worked with, and he's in Taiwan, and his belief is just networking. And Mike will always say, you know, network. And it's very true. So when I knew Mike, he was a network king, and you would meet people through him.
Right.
There were people that kind of stuff led to some positions in Seattle that led to a job with the Mariners. And then that could lead to, you know, there was a marketing position that led to a job in Florida. And
because of what you did with the information you learned and the skills you
people,
learned, it was more than just that. But
I worked with a guy at the Tacoma Rainiers, and you need to meet him.
Right.
And then that guy says, I'm starting up my own company. Why don't you come and do some media and marketing for me?
Right.
And next thing you know, and be versatile. I was like writing a story about an arena football team in Portland, Oregon, and then I was on a plane to Orlando to work in a hockey league to do marketing for them.
Was that fun for you? You know, at least
I think it's all fun.
Yeah.
I like to travel.
Some people don't like to travel.
No, you're right.
Doing some of the stuff I've done, I have gotten to travel and bounce around and it makes it so today with my life, I have a hard time having it. Regular job 9 to 5 where I can't go anywhere, do anything, be anything. Yeah. It's because I'm used to be able, if I need to, whatever, if it was work-wise, it was part of work usually when I had to get out there.
It can be a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
Both broadcast, because you don't know when you're going to get the call that there's a story to cover.
That's
it
true.
It can be in the middle of the night. Sports.
Did you get many of those?
You know, what's that?
Many in the middle of the night?
Not many, but a few. But I mean, depends where you work. I mean, a house fire, there's stuff like that
I'm
happens.
just asking if there's nothing in particular, but...
Yeah, I mean, it does happen.
Yes, yes.
Usually it was a fire.
Wow. Yeah.
When it came to Lewiston, Idaho, there was some big fires there.
Coincidence?
Yeah. Not many.
What would you say challenge you faced when you actually started doing what you do?
The thing about what I was interested in, be it working small town TV, and then getting into sports. The money's not good for getting into those. When you start out, it's like, okay, kid, here's some things you can do. You got to prove yourself. You're not going to get a lot of sleep because it's crazy hours. Part of that was because when I was doing my dream was doing some of the TV stuff in Lewiston. Well, I also realized, like, okay, they're not paying me a ton of money to cover a little community show in Lewiston, Idaho. So you figure out, okay, so I learned to bartend.
Yeah.
And I got a job bartending. So I could bartend at night, do my news. We did a lot of stuff. We could tape it a little bit earlier and do things during the day.
Did any house fires start when you're bartending? Never mind.
No, it didn't happen that way. So, but hour-wise, with both jobs, you have to find ways. If you're passionate about this is what I want to do, and you find that it's not paying all the bills or what you want it to do, you know what? Don't cry about it. Find a way to make it work.
Figure it out.
So I learned to bartend because I could do that anywhere. And
people tipped you?
Oh man,
being a little sarcastic, but
I had a hot spot. Yeah, it was a place to be.
So,
but what was weird is if I was bartending, you talked about if things happen while I was bartending. Yeah. So say you're bartending, and we had recorded a little promo for the TV station for hey, watching tomorrow morning our guest.
Right.
And so I'm bartending, and all of a sudden I've got my people sitting at the bar, and they look up on the TV watching a game, and then this mug breaks through, telling them to join us tomorrow morning. And this lady, because we had a lot of people who traveled for business, it was a hotel bar, and they would come in, and then they'd be like, they look at this, and they look at me.
Really,
they go, okay, that guy looks a lot like you.
I don't know, man.
And you could either tell them your whole story, or usually I would just be like, oh, that guy's that guy. So I get that a lot. He's not a good dude.
Yeah, I've heard about him.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy? Do you enjoy that? I know with all this stuff, there's gonna be time in the office, sometimes you're out in the field doing whatever. Is there preference, or does it balance it out for you?
Oh, I like to be out of the office. I mean, there's times when you're in the office,
right?
You're doing a lot of work. You're putting together reports and proposals, and you're working with the arena, and you're just seats. Whatever you're doing, there's a lot of time when that's what you're doing. But the best for me, when it comes to sales, when it comes to broadcast, I wasn't the one that necessarily wanted to sit at the anchor desk and just. And there's a time for that, but the beauty of both jobs for me is meeting people, and going out and interviewing people, meeting people, talking to people, figuring out what they do that's interesting, that they may not think is a story, but you're like, no, it's a great story. You do some cool things. Let's talk about it.
Right.
You know, it works both ways. If I can meet people that want to get involved in the Shock as a sponsorship, or just to bring a bunch of people out and catch a game, it's a lot of fun to meet those guys. Meeting you guys at the breakfast, you know, jeez, it's been great.
It's not a bad group.
Life changing.
Not a good group, but not a
Life
bad.
changing, man.
Not sure. What misconceptions would you say that you had when you went into it that you ended up learning that was?
Well, both jobs.
Yeah.
I think everybody, you know, I look at these, and I think everybody has an aspect or a perception that if you work in TV, no matter if it's Lewiston, Idaho, or Seattle or New York, there's lots of money and lots of glamour, and that's so laughable, because even as today's everything is changing with the internet and everything else, even TV stations are cutting and cutting and cutting, and so there's those few that are the glamours, you know,
very few,
the glamour babies of the business, but most people are just working hard,
right.
And taking on more and more of a role. You know, when I started, you didn't have to worry about Facebook or Twitter
all the other
or
social media stuff.
I didn't mean anything to you. Or keep a web page.
What was a web page back then?
Yeah.
We did,
Had a phone book. I mean, honest to God, there was none of that stuff. So the guys that are reporters now, you know, they're keeping up to date their Twitter feed, their Facebook, you know, all that stuff. People think that these are really glamorous. In sports, they assume that you're like having martinis with these athletes every night. No. You might get to meet them, and when you do, it's kind of cool, and it's always fun to talk to these guys.
If they're nice.
But you want to be, but a lot of them are.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that's nice about Spokane, is it's a smaller market. The players that are here can kind of be, you know, hidden if they want to be a little bit, but at the same time, if they want to just go out and have fun, they can be celebrities here too.
This happened too.
It's a right-sized city that they care.
Yeah.
A bigger city might not care.
Correct.
So they might be able to be a celebrity when they want to be, but kind of be left alone.
I've seen that happen with players over the years.
So,
they've enjoyed.
Yeah, you can have fun with it.
Some don't leave Spokane just because they get to.
A lot of them, I find.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a good place to stay.
It's not, you know, it's not bad other than I'm here, but.
Well, you know.
I think we've pretty much covered. You know, in talking, we've covered almost everything else on my list about the job you love and hate in particular. We've kind of hit that one. Gosh, Jim, you're good.
Well, it's always fun. I mean, honestly, the thing about sports, say that you're picking up the phone and you're smiling and dialing, as we call it, and you're trying to push insurance or something else. I mean, man, God bless those guys. That's not easy work.
No.
I've tried to do it, and it's what I always love about sports is that for the most part, now they might be mad at your team, and they might be pissed off at the way you just lost or something.
Yes.
But you know what? They care.
It's
when they don't care that you have a problem.
Yeah, they're not.
Now you got an empty stadium. When they care and they're passionate and they want you to be a part of the community, they want you to win. That's when you're onto something. And you know, the other day, this is an interesting story. I got my little list of people I'm calling. I'm going pretty quickly, and I see I want to call her, and I dial, and this guy answers. His name is Jim, and he's like, "No, that's not me, but I do have Shock tickets too." And I realized I looked at the number right below and wrong one. So I get this guy. We have like a 20-minute conversation about the Shock and he's just fired up. And I said, "That's got to be like the greatest wrong number I've ever had."
Whoops! And it worked out really well.
Right?
That's awesome.
There's passion there, and it's in Spokane. These people who remember, the fans that remember the Shock and the fact that they won 3 championships while they were here, and we want to bring that back. And the biggest thing that for Sam Adams, our owner, was to get the name the Shock back, to bring back the logo just like it looked. Someone said, "Are you going to change the logo?"
Colors or anything?
Why would you?
Yeah.
We're 3-time champions. You don't change that. So we want to bring back that loud Death Valley
excitement and energy.
Get you guys all fired up.
I checked out a game on TV maybe once.
Yeah? You should check it out in person.
I'll talk to you about it when it gets closer. What advice would you give somebody that wants to do either jobs or that's, that I know things have changed how they learn and teach, but I mean, the basics, like I said, getting out and doing it.
Yeah, I think
What would you give
finding,
advice?
when it comes to a lot of the broadcasting type of work, is be willing to do the things other people don't want to do. Everybody wants to work for like the major league sports.
Right.
And everybody wants to do that, and there's a lot of fun, great aspects of that. But I think a lot of people in broadcast and sports, some of their most memorable stories are when they were just starting out, not making much money, and you've got these stories about how you met this person and you got a chance to do this story. All of a sudden, you find yourself on this bigger story than you probably should be on. And you're a Rose Bowl. Are you kidding me? How'd that happen?
Right.
And that's a lot of fun. You're talking to somebody who you've admired. And I think for people that want to get into sports, maybe they played sports, they had an injury, or you just get to a point where you're as good as you're going to be.
Right.
And you think, okay, maybe I can work in the front office, marketing. There's a lot of ways. Work with the media, sell some tickets, whatever I can do. And from that point, I say, do as many things as you can, broadcast or sports related.
Right.
Get as many things that you're good at, find what you like and you can excel at, do it, get that experience, so that when you do get a chance to get paid for this and someone's going to hire you, you can say, oh yeah, I've done that before, I know how to do that. I can write, if I know you want me to sell tickets, but if you need someone to update the page on the website,
Are you doing that now?
I've been
with the Shock?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I can. That's just a decent skill of mine. I can write.
I'm just asking.
So I can get it.
I actually haven't asked what you do at that place. I don't really
They
know
want me to
myself.
sell. They want me to sell.
Oh my goodness. Any other thing you'd like to add? That anything about what you do that we haven't
look,
covered?
you've covered the floor with
No,
your
my
cards, and I think you've done okay.
No,
Just for the most part, thanks for the invite to talk.
You bet.
It's always fun to, I'm excited about the opportunity to bring the Shock back to. I walk around, we've got some Shock. I didn't wear it tonight, of course, but I've got Shock attire that people will comment on when they see me, at the grocery store or whatever. And everybody's got a story.
Yep.
They're fired up. I was at IHOP and the lady's like, "Oh, my son loves the Shock, and I need to know how to get tickets for my realtor." Everybody has a story.
You know a guy?
Yeah. See, it works.
Wow.
But no, I think we're just excited about coming back. We're excited about getting the community excited. And let's do this together. Fill up that Spokane arena, make some noise, and
win some games,
let's win some more trophies. Let's put some more banners up there.
Nice. I'll see what happens this year.
Yeah.
Well, I'm your host, Vic Boudreau. Jim
Bergum.
See, I can.
Jim.
I don't
Shock,
speak French,
Shock
and yet
Bergum.
Boudreau. Never mind. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate
Absolutely,
it. Spokane
thank
Shock
you.
starting again, coming back after 4 years.
March 26th is opening night.
Awesome. 7 o'clock. 7:05.
7:05.
Yeah. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, good night.
Easy peasy.
Oh, geez,
You're getting old, aren't you?
Jeez.